I can't believe we just hit halfway through this challenge. Hi friends, welcome back to this channel. I'm very excited to introduce this vlog to you because it is one that I have been working on for several months now, and I thought it would take a simple weekend. And that is because for 24 hours, I set a timer, and I literally only clicked it when I was reading, and I wanted to see how much manga I could read in 24 hours. Spoiler alert, it's 27. Yes, like I said, I essentially wanted to do one of these 24-hour timer challenges, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to read other than manga, so I decided to do just that. And if you didn't know, manga doesn't take super long to read. It takes a little less than an hour. And I hadn't realized that would mean 27 volumes of manga. But I had such a fantastic time. Spoiler alert, I'm filming this after I have completed it. These are all the manga that I'm going to be completing in this video. Essentially what I did was I took my ramen bowl and I filled it with prompts that are just the titles of the books, and I pulled them out, and that is what determined what I was reading as I had my timer going. I'm honestly so impressed with not only how much I read, but how much I enjoyed this challenge. I'm not going to repeat myself too much because I don't want to get super repetitive, because I know I mentioned this throughout the vlog, but the things that I learned about my individual taste in manga by reading this many different ones in one short amount of time was incredible. I really found some lifetime favorites, and I made some decisions that surprised me regarding which ones I want to only watch the anime instead of reading it. That's kind of all I have to introduce you with for this vlog. I'm gonna go ahead and let past Danielle take it away. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. If you want to see more manga content like this in the future, comment down below. And I will see you at the end of this vlog to wrap everything up. Hi friends, you are so precariously stacked on piles and piles of manga right now. I hope future Danielle, when she gets her tripod later today, films a really good intro to let you know what we're doing. But I have put all the titles in my little ramen bowl. I felt like that was fitting for manga. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull my first title. Obviously we're at hour 0 right now, and we're just gonna keep going until we hit hour 24. I'm nervous. I have no idea what I want to get, to be honest. Let's do okay, I think I feel a good one. Okay. What is this? Fairy Tale! This is one of the new ones I got. I'm kind of excited. So for my very first book, I pulled Fairy Tale. This is by Hiro Mashima. And I got really excited because looking at the description yesterday, I discovered there were pirates involved. I have no idea what this is about. I've just seen it before. It's definitely one of the more popular, classic mangas or animes. I don't know how classic is classic. I don't know what year this came out. 2006 translated 2008. That's about 20 years ago now, so don't think about that too deeply. But I'm excited to give this a shot. I will jump in when I finish it and let you know where that puts me in terms of the hours. I do film on my phone, so unfortunately I can't really be click the stopwatch, but I'll try to maybe do a screen insert or something of me doing so. It probably doesn't look like I moved very much, but it is a little before 11:30, day 1, and I am 48 minutes and I think 37 seconds into this challenge, and I've completed Fairy Tale. I liked it. I'm going to go ahead and give it about a 3.5. The humor made me giggle a couple times, which I appreciated, but there were some over-the-top, just very 2006, 2008 manga moments that inherently aren't bad, but aren't my favorite. I also didn't realize that I spelled this wrong Like, I wrote it like fairy tale, but it's fairy tale, as in the tale of a fairy, the author said. I don't know how that's going to pertain to the story. It was really cute. There was like a little letter from the author at the end where he was essentially saying, who knows if that will come up in the end, but he wanted to go with that title anyway. One thing that I did find pretty unique about this book is how much the author interacts. I mean, I feel like it's common for manga to have authors' inputs here and there throughout the story, or, you know, as an introduction or epilogue kind of thing at the end. But the ones that were included in here, I just really appreciated. Like, there's a breakdown of honorifics. There's a little breakdown on behind the scenes of certain story elements. And I thought that those elements really enhanced my reading experience. I was totally wrong. This has nothing to do with pirates. I mean, there was like an element of pirates in this first story, but this is actually following a magical guild. You're following our main character, Lucy, who wants to be part of the Fairy Tale Magician Guild. And then you're also following Natsu and his cat partner, Happy, who already are members of the guild and are bringing Lucy on board as part of their team. I thought that Lucy's powers were really, really cool. She has the power of using like gate magic, celestial body magic. And I just thought that that was really entertaining. I liked that some of them were actually Zodiac related, but not all of them. I could see why you'd be hooked by this. I think that there's a lot of directions this story could go, and I'm kind of excited to watch the anime. I think that I'm going to do that before I go ahead and read the second volume, just because I don't have the second volume anyway. So I'm going to give the show a shot. But that is book 1, 48 minutes. Let's pull book 2 now. Okay. What are we gonna read? Let's go with this one. This one feels good. This one feels good. This is Poon Poon, another new one that I also haven't really hauled for you yet. So Poon Poon means good night, Poon Poon. This is by Inio Asano, and I've wanted to read this one for quite a long time. I'm really, really excited to be getting to it. And when I say excited, I also mean a little hesitant and nervous. I hear that this is a much darker, more depressing story. I have no idea what it's actually about, but I hear that it kind of deals with heavier topics than you might expect. So I'm excited to give it a go. I think there's like normal people in this world, but he sees himself as like this little bird creature. I don't know. I am really excited. It's a little bit bigger, so I think it is going to take me a little longer than the first book did. I might check in about halfway through with this one, and then when I finish it, but I need to stop yapping and continue reading. You're still balancing on a lot of books, just slightly different now. I am halfway through Goodnight Poon Poon. The things I said earlier do apply. It's a little darker than I expected, a little stranger than I expected. We are following our main character, Poon Poon. He does see himself and his family as these flightless birds, but a lot of it is an odd way to tell a coming-of-age story. We're following Poon Poon as he is kind of developing one of his bigger first crushes. He's kind of dealing with some turmoil at home between his parents. He's dealing with starting to discover his interest in his sexuality, as well as just like growing up and what he wants to do with his life. I don't love the humor in this, whereas Fairy Tale, the humor felt cheesy, but it at least felt like it fit with the story. The humor in this, sometimes it does make me laugh. Like, it's not always not hitting the mark, but sometimes it's just, I don't know. I don't want to say it feels inappropriate, but it's not, there's something not clicking with it for me where it's just feeling not like it has the best intentions. I don't know how to say that clearer, but yeah, I can't really tell how I feel. I like the bigger messages and what it's saying and what it's expressing. It's just done in a very, very weird way. There is some Gorgeous artwork though. The artwork in this book is working for me much, much stronger than it did in Fairy Tale. It's just really, it is really well done. It's just really strange, but I am intrigued. Like, I want to see what happens between Poon Poon and this crush that he has. And the adults in his life are just interesting characters. So I will let you know how I feel when I finish this. I am taking just a little bit of a break because I'm feeling a little cabin feverish. So I think I'm going to run up to the library and maybe run up and get some sort of like energy drink. And I will be back. Oh, we are at about an hour and 26 minutes into the challenge. And I'm going to keep trucking along. You're on my fancy new tripod now. Hi, I completed Goodnight Poon Poon. You know what? I think I am gonna go ahead and give this a 4 star. I really loved the second half a lot more than the first half. And I was looking at some reviews, just kind of getting an idea of what people think. And it seems that this author tends to do like an absurdist dark comedy take on his stories. And I definitely saw that prevalent throughout. Though I still stand by the fact that some of it didn't hit for me, hence the more of a 4 star than a 5 star. But overall, I really enjoyed the experience. I don't think I knew that Goodnight Poon Poon was supposed to follow this character from when they were younger. And I don't know for sure, but what I've seen of reviews is we follow him in the other books into adulthood. And I think that that's going to be really interesting. I haven't read many mangas that do that. I'm really happy I finally got to this one. I've just had it, like I said, on my want to read for a very, very long time. And I think I will continue this series. I don't think I want to buy them full price, but like I found this at my local used bookstore, so if I find the others, I'll pick them up too. I did forget to mention, I do think that brings me to like an hour and 53 minutes. So a little under 2 hours, 2 manga completed, and I'm still feeling good. I'm still doing okay, and at this point, that's where I want to be. I am gonna go ahead though and pull my next manga. There's a couple jumping at me. Let's go with this one. Okay, my next one is My Hero Academia. That's really exciting. I do have a box set for the first 20 volumes of My Hero Academia, so I am going to actually put this back in the jar, because if it does pop up, I will just continue on to the next volume. As I mentioned, I am then going to be picking up volume 2 of My Hero Academia. This is Nick's favorite manga he's been reading right now, so I'm really excited to try and catch up to him, because he's been flying through. This is by Kohei Horikoshi. In this, we're following our main character Deku, and he wants to be part of the Hero Academy, where these young heroes train to be stronger, better heroes. It's a world where basically everybody has powers except a few that don't. These skills are called quirks, and our main character Deku is navigating unexpected things that are happening to him. I don't want to say too much more, but I am going to go ahead then and dive into the second volume. I don't think this is going to take me too long to read, but I will be back here once it's finished. Book number 3 completed. We are at 3 hours and 5 minutes, so still going well. It is getting later than I expected on day 1. It is already 8 p.m., so let's keep going. I am going to go ahead and give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think objectively, there's nothing wrong with it. It set out to do everything it wanted to do. It just didn't quite hit the 5 star because it didn't have much of like an emotional attachment for me. but I really, really enjoyed it. I think reading it in this context helped the writing shine even more. The jokes shined even more, and I really liked it. So let's go ahead and pull our next book. Let's go with this one. Okay. A short one. One Piece. That's tea. Okay, this one's kind of tea because my copy is actually 3 volumes in one. It's an omnibus. So was my Poon Poon volume 1 was at least 2 manga volumes, but this is 3. One Piece is by Ichiro Oda. I watched the live action and really enjoyed it, but I have not read it before, and I watched like 1 episode of the anime. So yeah, this is a challenge one. I probably won't be here to check in for a little while, but at least I will get a good amount of reading time in for this one. And I've just had it for a while and have wanted to give it a shot. This follows our main character Luffy, and he wants to be king of the pirates. And I do love pirates. So I don't know if I'll check in halfway through or once I finish, but I will let you know. I'm excited to see some of the characters I already know, like Nami. I hope she's in this volume. And I'll be back. Hello, I am at 5 hours and 14 minutes, and I have completed One Piece, volumes 1, 2, and 3, technically, and I'm giving this a 5-star. It was so much fun. I actually got to see different plot lines that didn't happen the way that they did in the live action, and I loved the pacing. I didn't think there were any jokes that made me feel uncomfortable. I just had a great time, and it felt really intentionally and intellectually written. Like, it just was really, really great. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to read the manga or not, but I think I will at least for sure pick up the second bind up of these next time I see it. So I want to draw my next one right now. I don't know if I'll be checking in again tonight though. I might just choose it and then check in with you tomorrow. Okay. I felt a good one and then I lost it. Let's go with this one. This one. This one. One Punch Man. That's crazy because at the end of One Piece, there was an ad for One Punch Man. So this is One Punch Man, Volume 1 by Yusuke Murata. I started watching the show, so I do have an idea what this one's about. It was quite funny, pretty self-aware. I look forward to reading through it. I don't think this will take me as long as One Piece did. I, again though, do have Volume 2, so I'm actually going to put this back in the bowl, and I could potentially draw Volume 2 before this project's over. But I'm going to go ahead, like I said, take a little break, read this, and I will probably check in with you sometime tomorrow morning.
A few moments later.
Hi, so I haven't been here to update you at all today, but I did want to let you know, I just cried my ass off watching Lilo and Stitch 2. It's a good movie.
3 days later.
Hi friends, sorry to jump in here and tell you it is like literally 3 days later. I didn't expect to take such a pause on this challenge, but I was just in a pretty horrible mood and didn't want to read, but I'm ready to get back in it now. That night that I checked in with you last, I did go ahead and finish One Punch Man, putting me at about 5 hours and 35 minutes. This was a super quick read. Like, there's literally some pages that have maybe at most 1 word. And this was fun, and I do still recommend it. I think I'm going to give it a very solid 4-star. It's really funny. It's setting out to do everything that it wants to do. I'm sure there's some classic manga references that I'm missing. My only personal opinion is I love the voice actors of the English dub that we've been watching. I think that their dryness when they're delivering lines works really, really well for the characters. The person who voices Genos always makes me think of The Chosen from Smosh. Just that, like, it has that exact voice that's like, I'm Master, I'm the Chosen. And it makes me laugh. So I think I will continue reading just whatever Emmett buys because he's the one who's been collecting them. And I have up to volume 2, so if I do pull it, I will read it. But I think in general, it's not a series I'm dying to read. I think the adaptation is very entertaining. There were a couple scenes in here that I don't think were in the adaptation, but without the dry delivery with the voice actors, it's just not blowing my mind. With that though, let's go ahead and pull our next one because we have a lot of hours to make up still. Woo, this one jumped at me. I don't trust it. Let's go with this one. It's already unfurled. What is it? Witch Hat Atelier. So Witch Hat Atelier is by Kamome Shirahama. This is a copy I've gotten from the library. But I'm so excited because I literally have seen people binging this series left and right, both online and in real life. Like, my old coworkers from the library have been flying through this series. So I'm just really excited to give it a go. I have zero idea what this one's about. So in a little bit, when I finish, I'll check in, let you know what I thought, let you know what it's about. I am going to go ahead and do some rating sprints on my channel just because I didn't really prep a video for today and I need to get reading done anyway, so I might as well see if anybody wants to read with me. Hi friends, I just finished Witch Hat Atelier and this brings me to, I think, like 6 hours and 21 minutes. This took a little bit longer to get through than some of the other ones did. I am so unbelievably impressed. To give you no spoilers about the story, but like my rating, I'm giving this a 5-star. I thought this was fantastic. The only expectation I had was the expectation that it would be good, and it still surpassed that expectation. So we're following our main character. Her name is Coco, and she has dreamed of becoming a witch, and due to a series of events, I won't get into it, she is thrust into a witch atelier where she is going to be training to become a witch. I was surprised by the element of the other cast in this story. Like, I didn't realize we would be following other young witches that are kind of in Coco's cohort. So we're like following that story, and it's just doing such a great job of having this little bit of whimsy, a little bit of humor, and you're learning about this magical world with a character that knows nothing about it, but we're getting glimpses into how large scale and in-depth the magic system is, and I just think it's a wonderful balance in this first volume. It's keeping me intrigued, like I do want to see more, but I'm also satisfied with what I'm getting. Like, this was absolutely fantastic. The reason I love doing challenges like this is because I find something that I fall for, and then I have a new obsession to go out and grab them from the bookstore. Like, I will absolutely be purchasing this volume and at least the sequel. I knew this was going to hit when I had a Sailor Moon ad in the back, though, because if you watched my last manga vlog challenge, loved Sailor Moon, loved Witch Hat. Things are going incredible here. I'm having a great time. The other thing I want to talk about, too, though, is how absolutely stunning this artwork is throughout the manga. This art style is just so incredibly unique. I obviously am not any sort of pro when it comes to manga. Like, I'm still learning a great deal about it and really trying to figure out what I love. But unique art styles definitely stand out more than I expected them to. And in particular, the shading done in this story is really, really gorgeous. I can see why it says back here, it says a magical adventure that took Japan by storm. And I am not surprised. I loved this one. If you can't tell, I highly recommend it. I'm kind of sad to pull my next one because I just want to read more, but who knows? Maybe I'll have another favorite come up next. Let's pull it. I feel a good one. I feel a good one. Ooh, I didn't see it, but I pulled it, but I didn't see it. The Kingdoms of Ruin. So this is Kingdoms of Ruin. It's by Yoru Hashi. Have no idea what it's about. When we went to that big thrift store, Nick found the first 3 volumes and wanted them. So we have them. And now I'm going to give it a shot. So I just hit 6:55. So we are almost at 7 hours. I know 24 hours is a lot. I can't believe how many I've already read to only be at 7 hours. Less than 7 hours. But we're going to keep trucking along. I obviously have realized this challenge is not going to be a quick one. We're going to be journeying here for a while together. But I did go ahead and finish Kingdoms of Ruin. This was insane. This was very graphic. I read some reviews that were like, this feels overly graphic with no reason. I don't necessarily feel that way. I do think that it was darker than I expected, but from like the second panel, it becomes very clear that it's going to be a darker story. And I do have an interest in seeing how it continues and kind of what brought people to this point of such a violent society. And it was just so wacky. So we're following a couple of characters. There's a bit of a time jump in the very beginning. And so we're following characters in a world where God created witches to help humans, but then humans started hunting witches and slaughtered them so that they could see a rise in technology. So there's a really interesting connection and relationship between how much sci-fi is in the story as well as how much fantasy is in the story. It's almost like was so different from Witch Hat in a way that's like confusing my brain, because like witches were in secret in Witch Hat as well, but it had such a different tone. Like there were ominous moments, but it was very different from this one. This is probably one of the first manga I've ever read that is kind of this dark, and I think I'm excited to keep reading. This first volume, I'm gonna go ahead and give a 4. I think that there just was something about it that it didn't quite feel like a 5 or like a 4.5, but I'm really intrigued, like I said, to continue. I'm happy that Nick already went ahead and bought the first 3. I think that was a good move. I'm fascinated by this one. This, again, confirming why I like doing challenges like this for manga, is I'm just like, I never probably would have gotten to this as soon as I did, or at all, if it wasn't for pulling it from the cup. So I'm happy. This was weird. Oh, it says older teen. I would even borderline say more like adult. It was kind of intense. But let's go ahead then and pull my next one. I only have a minute before my sprints end again. Or like, I have to get back to the sprint. Okay, let's go with this one. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? Spy Family Volume 2. That's exciting. Spoiler alert, I did go ahead and finish this already. I didn't jump in to really do like a, this is what I picked, this is Spy Family. Okay, I'm gonna go read now, because I'm realizing this vlog is gonna be just so long. So the fewer of those clips, the better. This is Spy Family Volume 2. It was the last book that I chose. You just saw it happen. If you're unfamiliar with this series, you're following this small chosen family hired family unit that is hired by our main character, Twilight, who is a master spy, and he must hire a woman to be his wife, who he doesn't know is actually an assassin, and he adopts this little girl to play his daughter, who he doesn't know is a telepath. And they're getting up to some crazy shenanigans because they're all trying to keep their identities and their secrets from one another. I watched the anime for this, and I didn't really like it. I watched only like the first episode, and it was not for me. So I decided to still try the manga, and the pacing issues that I was having with the show have not been an issue for the novels, and that's making me very, very happy. I went ahead and gave this a 4-star. It was very good. I'm going to continue the series just because people love it so much, and I do like it, but I really want to know what's going to develop to make me love it so hard. With this, though, it does bring me to 7 hours and 44 minutes, I believe. So this is more of an investment project than I thought it would be. Let's pull our next title. I got my ramen bowl. The next one we're going to read is this one. 5 centimeters per second. So this is 5 centimeters per second. It's written by Makoto Shinkai, art by Yukiko Seiki. I have never heard of this title before, except for when I obviously picked it up a couple years ago, but it does say it's based on the multiple award-winning film, and I haven't read many anime to manga adaptations, so I'm excited to give it a go. It's a little bit on the chunkier side, which for this challenge, we're happy about. This will take me hopefully a little bit longer to get through and kind of bulk up my time a little bit more, but we will find out. Again, nothing about it. This one I will definitely, though, check in about halfway through and let you know my thoughts. Let's get this timer going again. Hello, friends. We are at 9 hours and 13 minutes. If you see any mess behind me when I turn my head, no you don't. I have gone ahead and I finished 5 centimeters per second. I know I said I would check in, but this ended up being just like a standalone, continuous, story, so I wanted to just complete it because it was going a little bit faster than I expected. This was a really interesting read. This is by Makoto Shinkai, and the art is by Yukiko Seiki. It says that this is an adaptation of a anime film that has a lot of praise. Some of the comments in the back even called him like the next Miyazaki, and I never watched it. I also haven't heard of anything else by this creator, so don't know when that movie and those claims were made. I do think reading it definitely took away from that experience because I didn't get these crazy beautiful visuals. I got a couple like pretty scenes, but I wouldn't say this blew my mind the way some beautiful scenes did in other manga. Specifically, I saw a lot of reviews and it did definitely enhance my experience of this. It's like a direct comparison or antithesis to Your Name. And I really, really loved Your Name. We loved the movie. I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. So like I said, maybe this was a disservice to just read this first, but I am giving it a very solid 4-star. Like once I put it in a broader sense, it's so hard to talk about without giving any spoilers, but this doesn't have a traditional storytelling device, or it just takes different risks and goes in a little bit of a different direction than I expected. I'd say that overall, the bigger message and ideas leaned to a 4-star. That's kind of why I felt that way. But my overall enjoyment of like actually reading the book was probably more like a 3. Like I wasn't kicking my feet and giggling, or I was more just like whiplashed in what was happening. I didn't feel as tightly bound to the characters as I did in the very first part. If you've read this, you'll kind of, I think, understand what I mean, or if you've seen the movie. I do think I'd recommend it though if you want something more unique and you want a nice standalone story that you're not going to have to read 30 volumes to consume. Overall, I'm happy I picked it up. I don't know if I'm going to watch the movie. If you've seen it, let me know if you think I should. Also, I'm so sorry for this, like, light glare up above me. Is that better or worse? I lowered you a little bit. Either way, this happened, and we're at 9 hours and 13 minutes. I'm going to do something a little crazy because I started filming for this vlog April 5th. It is currently May 21st. That's the situation we're looking at here. So what I'm going to do for my next poll is I'm actually going to go ahead and just pull 3 titles, and I'm going to wait to update you until I complete all 3, because this vlog is already looking at like half an hour long. So we're going to pull more, and then I'll come back and rapid fire my thoughts on them. Does that sound good? We're going to try for these 3, and we'll see how it goes and what length of time it brings me to. So let's pull. Okay, I pulled this one. It was kind of like just on top. This is scary. Full Metal Alchemist. I did not anticipate that. Pull our next one. The Promised Neverland. I also didn't anticipate that. I'm not going to anticipate any of the ones that are in here. Wow, what an interesting pick. Okay, let's go with this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Box of Light. I'm probably most excited to reread this one. Okay, I am putting Box of Light back in, and I think I'm going to put Full Metal Alchemist back in because I just picked up the 2nd volume. So if I pull it again, I don't have the 2nd volume of this one. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have my next 3 manga picks right here. Again, we have Full Metal Alchemist. This is by Hiromu Arakawa. Then we have The Promised Neverland by Kayu Shirai. And we have Box of Light by Siko Arisawa. I'm really excited for these 3. I think this is a really fun combo. There's something more exciting about knowing my next 3. And again, I will jump in. Don't know what this one's about, but it's obviously like such a classic about a brother who's like metal. I don't know anything else. The Promised Neverland. There are some kids in an orphanage. I believe it's the end of the world. No idea what's beyond the orphanage. That's not a spoiler. I know nothing. Box of Light, I really, really loved. This is kind of like a spooky convenience store on the crossroads between life and death. I thought the art was a lot of fun when I read it the first time. I love this little guy. And I look forward to reading it again so that I can actually read the sequel that my friend got me for our Secret Santa Christmas. So, I'm going to go read. Hopefully when I'm back, I would like to at least be over 10 hours because I'm running out of manga, and that's upsetting because that also means I'm running out of manga for Wonderthon, and I didn't know these things would happen, basically. Hi friends, we are officially at 12 hours and something minutes, 17 minutes? I finished these 3 manga that I just pulled for you and told you about, so let's talk about how I felt after these. I do think I like this method of like choosing 3 and then checking in with them all in a little bit. So we will be pulling our next 3 momentarily. The first one I ended up reading was Box of Light, and this again follows that convenience store between life and death. I thought this was fun. I think the first time I read this I gave it a 5-star, and this time around I gave it a 4. It just didn't hit quite as hard. It felt a little more choppy than I remembered it being. But I feel just as enticed and intrigued by the characters to continue this as I thought I would be. And now I'm excited because book 2 should be in this jar. Then in a surprise turnout, I end up giving The Promised Neverland 3 stars. I'm not going to say anything about what my guesses about the book was when I like gave you my little pitch about it. I'm not going to say how right or wrong I was about that, but I will just say I am super into this story. I do think I'm going to give at least 1 or 2 more volumes a chance. I just didn't feel like the writing itself was really as up to par as some of the other manga I've been reading. Like, it was very repetitive between pages, and the atmosphere they were trying to create by being like super like with the repetition was just not, it was not hitting for me. So don't know when I'm going to get to the next volumes, but I think it'll happen eventually. Then finally, I did pick up Full Metal Alchemist by Hiromi Arakawa, and I'm giving this a 5-star. I've never seen the anime. I know nothing about this story, but this book was fantastic. I thought the writing was incredible. My edition too is like really glossy pages, which was just, doesn't have anything to do with the story, just my edition, but I really liked it. I know this is such a beloved series, but I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. It's kind of how I felt about One Piece, where I was just like, oh, I'm sure it'll be good. No, I'm a fan. I look forward to continuing this, and I'm so happy because we do have book 2, and I think I put it in here like I said, so chances of reading it are pretty high, and I'm really excited to do so. I'm also getting really stressed out because Wonderthon is going to be here really soon, and essentially now I'm almost reading all of my books for Wonderthon, and I don't know what I'm going to do for Wonderthon because I still need graphic works for Wonderthon. I'm overwhelmed for Wonderthon. Let's pull our next 3 titles. Okay, what's our first one? I Want to End This Love Game. I think that's a new one I bought that I had no idea what it was about. I'll grab it in a minute. Blue Flag. And Komi Can't Communicate. Let me go grab these. Okay, I got the 3 manga. So this, I Want to End This Love Game by Yuki Demoto, I actually just picked up at a used bookstore I went to. I have absolutely no idea what it was about. I just know that, oh yes, they like play a love game. It's like 2 childhood friends who have always tried to fluster each other by saying I love you. And the idea is like whoever actually falls for each other loses the game. I just lost the game. Fuck. I was just excited to pick this up, and you know what? It kind of goes with all these 3. I just wanted more slice of life, less fantasy-leaning mangas on my shelves, so I picked this up. I'm excited to get to it. I then have Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda. I don't know anything about what this one's about, other than maybe like a very shy person. And then Blue Flag, this is by Kaito, and this is like a strange love triangle queer story. We shall see. I will be back once I've read these 3 and we'll see how we're going. I can't believe we just hit halfway through this challenge. I love filming something and then being just like so incredibly insecure about how it turned out. And that's how I feel about my June TBR that I just filmed. But we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the 3 mangas I have completed. We are at a little over 14 hours. I want to say like 14 hours and 43 minutes, something like that. I went ahead and I completed these 3. I completed I Want to End This Love Game, Blue Flag, and Komi Can't Communicate. Let's run through them and what I thought. I Want to End This Love Game by Yuki Demoto. I ended up giving this about a 3.5 stars. I thought it was entertaining enough. I think our 2 characters are very, very sweet. This is essentially about them always playing this love game where they had to profess their love for each other, but as they've gotten older, it's becoming a little more complex because those feelings are becoming more real. They're no longer just flustering each other, but they're flustering themselves. I do think I would pick it up again, but I'm not running to do so. Eventually I will. Like when I want a nice little slice of life story, I could see myself coming back to this. Then I completed Komi Can't Communicate by Tomohito Oda. I gave this a 3. I definitely liked it a little bit less than I Want to, what's that one called? It's a long title. I Want to End This Love Game. I ended up liking this one a little bit less simply because there were some jokes that just didn't land, like cultural differences that just didn't land for me. But more than anything, it just got a little bit repetitive. It was reminding me of The Promised Neverland, where I just was like, we just seem to be circling around the same point. This, I think, was a little more digestible for that because of the nature of the story. I did also see that it was originally meant to be published as a one-shot and then got picked up. So I can see this getting better and better the more that I read it. Honestly, as soon as I saw this was like a one-shot that was expanded on, I was like, okay, Now I'm back in. I could see myself continuing the series. But then I went ahead and finished Blue Flag by Kaito. I gave this a 5-star, maybe a 4.5, but I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. When I read manga like this, that is telling a story progressively and doesn't feel like it's meandering around the same points, it reinforces my understanding of which ones I enjoy. Like, I think this was fantastic. There wasn't a moment where I felt like, why are we having this conversation again? Why is X character doing this again? Instead, I was just completely enamored and hooked by every character. I know this has been making its rounds in terms of like a comp title to Heartstopper, and I definitely could see that simply because, like, I don't know, they just definitely give the vibes of Charlie and Nick. But essentially, in this story, we are following our main character, Taichi, and he decides to help his classmate, Futaba, because she has a crush on Taichi's childhood best friend, Toma. While helping Futaba kind of make her moves on Toma, Taichi starts realizing that he has some feelings that he hasn't really dealt with surrounding Toma, like potentially romantic feelings, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I absolutely cannot wait to continue the series. I will say, I've seen a lot of booktubers reading this, and once they get to later volumes, they seem not to love it as much or love how things play out. So I'm a little nervous about that, but that's not an issue for today's Danielle because I don't own volume 2, but I will eventually. Let's go ahead and pull our next titles. Can't believe I have less than 10 hours left. It's like, what, 10 more manga, maybe? Okay, this one we got. Tentacle Cave. I'll explain. Pull the next one, we'll come back to that. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. I'm excited for this one. Okay, and then finally, I want this one. I want this one. Whatever this one is, it's the one I wanted. One Punch Man. Maybe it's not the one I wanted. I haven't hauled this yet, but I did get this beautiful boxed set of the Toilet Bound books. And it like kind of looks like a locker. Isn't that so cute? Okay, for this next set, we're going to be reading Toilet Bound Hanako-kun by Idalro. This is volume 1. We're going to be reading One Punch Man by One. This is volume 2, which I wasn't sure I was going to read before this challenge, and now I am. And then Inside the Tentacle Cave. This is by Abby and Umetane. This was a gift that my friend got me for Secret Santa. It is like a tentacle monster hentai. And you know what? We're gonna just throw it in with these and we're gonna have a great time. If you don't know, I do love monster romances. Like if I'm gonna read a romance, I prefer it to be monstrous. So this is definitely up my alley. It's just like I'm gonna blush and it's a little silly because it's it was wrapped when I open it. Like not just in gift wrap, but like sealed because there's smutty things in here. I think of these three though, I am most excited to get to Toilet Bound Hanako-kun because this is one of my nephew's highest recommended mangas. Like he just loves this one, has always loved the anime, and it's just taken me a long time to get myself a set to start it, and today is that day. So I'll be back, and God, I hope I'm a few more hours in when I do. Sorry if you can hear my dryer going. I'm trying to knock this challenge out. So we are checking in anytime that we can. I finished these three. Let's start with the one I read first. It Happened. Those are all my thoughts on it. This was such a perfect gift for my friend. Like the gag giftiness of it all, I'll keep it forever. In terms of like the actual content, you know, not to yuck anyone's yum, but this one in particular Didn't do it for me. I did not rate it. I'm just going to at least know that I've read it. So that's, when I look at my manga shelves, I will know I've read that one. I then read One Punch Man Volume 2. This is written by One, and the art is by Yusuke Murata. I gave this a 4. It was solid. It really confirmed for me that I'm not really interested in reading this manga. At least not so soon after watching the anime. A lot of the bit by bits are, well, I just hit my steps, so my Fitbit's screaming at me. But I just think that the anime definitely hits the story bits very well. Like, I don't feel like I was missing anything or gaining anything different from reading this, at least in the first few volumes. I'm not going to write it off forever. If Emmett continues to collect them, one day I'll probably come back, but I'm just not interested in doing that having just completed the show. So I'm not going to describe what this is either, because I did that when I read the first one, which I forgot was also for this vlog. It's been a while. So I then did go ahead and pick up Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. This is by Idalro, and this is volume 1. I gave this one a 4-star, but in a way that I'm like excited to continue because I have no other exposure to this series. This was all new content. This is about a spirit or phantom who is haunting a school. He's not the only one. There's a couple others. And it's like this quirky connection he has to this other girl, and like we're uncovering some mysteries that are happening at the school. I loved it. I thought it was eerie in some parts. Like I could see the tone shift for like bigger twists that were happening, and I think as the series progresses, I could see those tone shifts happening more often. I also think something that is just such an interesting turnout from doing this challenge is really seeing my tastes in manga change. I think I've said this in different ways, probably a couple times, but this manga pointed out to me in terms of, as a medium, manga is just so incredibly unique. Obviously, there are some similarities between different genres within it. Like, isekai is going to have a certain vibe to it that's like a world transportation kind of story. Like, those are going to have certain similar elements, but the actual writing style and art style of the stories are so different. For instance, this one had a lot going on in each page. There was a decent amount of dialogue and just a lot of playing with the panel layout, playing with the shading of the characters. It's really just making me love the medium even more, which I think is great because by now I feel like I would expect me to be really burnt out, but I'm still having a great time. I'm still having a great time if we ignore that one. And you know what? I'm excited to continue this series. I have, I think, the first 6, so I will definitely be doing that. Let's go ahead though. I didn't tell you the time we're at. I think we are at 16 hours and 22 minutes. I'm so excited. We're really getting there. It feels like every set of 3 brings me about 2 hours closer, which makes sense. Like, this one didn't take as long to read because there's a lot less going on. This one took a lot longer to read because there was a lot going on. So I'm hoping that we are nearing the end. Let's go ahead and pull our next 3. I'm doing some sprints with Lizzie, so hopefully I can get through a few more of these and you'll see me like later tonight. Okay, what do we got? Finally, we have Ranma and a Half. My Happy Marriage. Is this the Damien Hawes segment? Finally, we have, this feels like it's been opened before, Full Metal Alchemist. The second one. Okay, so we have Full Metal Alchemist, Volume 2. Don't need to tell you what this is about. I don't think so. I hope I did earlier when I talked about the first one. My Happy Marriage, have no idea what this one is about, but Damien Hawes from Smosh does voice a character in it, and I've seen it around before, so I really wanted to pick it up and give it a shot. Honestly, I keep forgetting I own it. Then I have Ranma Half by Rumiko Takahashi. This is a bind-up of volumes 1 and 2. I don't know much about this one either. I believe it's a young boy who is like changing genders. All I know is it's written by the author of Inuyasha, the artist and author of Inuyasha, who is hands down my favorite. I have a tattoo of them. I've mentioned this a couple times. And in my last video of like manga I kind of want to read, someone said to really prioritize this one, that I'm going to love it. I'm excited that it's finally time, and I will check in. This one's a little bit bigger. I'm hoping we make a little more dent in our time by the end of this. I will say I've never read manga quite so closely or in depth until this challenge, because I'm really trying to stretch every minute and really examining, you know, panel structure, art. I'm really trying to soak up all of it. Hi friends, this was a fantastic grouping. We are at 19 hours and 29 minutes, I believe. I completed Full Metal Alchemist Volume 2, My Happy Marriage, and Ramna Half, and nothing was below a 4-star, just as a spoiler. I don't remember the exact numbers because it's been a couple of days, but I did go ahead and I do remember I gave Full Metal Alchemist a solid 5-star. Loved this one just as much as the first one. The plot is definitely developing in a unique way that you get to see in this one compared to the first. And yeah, spoiler alert, I already bought the third one, so I'm looking forward to continuing. Then I read My Happy Marriage, and I was surprised by the darker elements in this story. This is a story of it's a Cinderella kind of reimagining, and she is pretty heavily abused in the beginning of the story. We're meeting our two characters. As I said, one has kind of grown up abused, and she is being married off to this man who has struggled to kind of keep a partner, keep a fiance, and we don't really know why, and things unravel, but it was just so well done. The writing was really, really impressive, and I believe I found out that this either has light novels or maybe started as a light novel. I don't really know. If you know specifics, please let me know. But at the end of this story, there was like a section of the authors like writing a scene in traditional prose, and that was really, really interesting. I haven't had a manga that provided that before. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I gave this. It was either like a 4 or a 4.5, but I loved it. And also, spoiler alert, picked up the sequel. So I'm excited to continue the series for sure. And then Ramna Half. I think I gave this one like a 4, 4.5. There are certain elements of it that are just like culturally very different from the US, so that was like an interesting element, but the story made me laugh so many times. There is something so classic and original to Takahashi's writing, and I just love her storytelling. Like, I literally cracked up at a couple of points. The art style feels very classic to Inuyasha, which I obviously love so much. There was a lot of nudity in this one. I didn't realize like what the plot would be, but we're actually following Ramna, and the reason they change their gender is because like he's been cursed. So every time he hits cold water, he becomes a girl, and hot water, he becomes a boy. I thought it led to a lot of funny situations, and at least personally, it didn't feel like it was super distastefully done. Like, it felt like he's a boy, he's just sometimes dealing with a curse that's a little inconvenient when you're trying to go about your day. And I just liked it a lot. I laughed a lot. I think at the end of these 2 volumes, there was like some heartwarming moments that I could see continuing to develop in a classic Takahashi way. And I loved it. With that though, like I said, that is 3 incredible wins, and we are in the home stretch now. We are so close to finishing. I don't think I'm gonna finish in the next pull. Like, I'll pull 3 more, but then we might be close enough to only pull like 1 or 2 more. We'll find out. Let's go ahead and pull our next 3 now. What's this one? Box of Light. I can read volume 2 now. Exciting. This bowl is so empty now. It's crazy. The summer Hikaru died. I'm really, really looking forward to that. And then finally, this one's long. Blood on the Tracks. That's exciting. This feels like a very interesting collection. We have Blood on the Tracks by Shuzo Oshimi. I think this is a bit of a horror manga. I haven't read many of those, and I know that this was really popular for a little bit. I don't hear as many people talking about it now, but I look forward to seeing what's up because people always say it's like kind of crazy. Then Box of Light 2, I'm so excited. I've just been holding on to it on my TBR forever, and I'm ready to get it off and enjoy it. Then The Summer Hikaru Died. I actually was sent this as a gift. It was so kind from one of my Patreon chats because it was shortly after a certain thing happens in the US in November, and I was upsetty. So someone was so kind enough to send me a book to try and cheer me up, and I'm so excited to be getting to it right now, and I will check in when I know more about these. I mean, obviously I talked about this one already. This one, I don't know much. The description kind of reminded me of Summertime Rendering, where it seems like there are potential horrific doppelgangers about. We'll find out. Okay, so I finished these, and I can actually say that all three kind of leaned horrific in different ways. So I'm going to discuss them in order of least to most. So definitely the least was Box of Light Volume 2, but I really, really enjoyed it. Throughout the majority of the beginning, I was kind of like, this is feeling like a lot of little vignettes, however you say it. I feel like it's a little too episodic, like I wanted more story, but at the end, I could definitely say that I see where the plot is going. Like we've gotten a confirmation of maybe something that's going to happen, which makes me really excited to pick up the next book. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 4-star. I think this is a newer series being adapted, so only 4 of them are out right now, which is kind of exciting too, to be kind of reading along with earlier versions, because I feel like every time I jump in, they're already like 30 books deep. So yeah, really enjoyed that one, 4 stars. Then the next horrific, in my opinion, is probably The Summer Hikaru Died. I gave this one probably, oh, I wish I remembered. Also like a 4 or a 5. I really, really liked this one. It is very similar to Summertime Rendering, but a little bit darker in a different way. Summertime Rendering felt a little more sci-fi, and this is feeling a little more horrific. It was also really interesting to read these so closely together because their art styles are just so different. This one had a great deal of shading. It was definitely going for a very dark, saturated tone, and then this one is like barely anything dark on a page. It's much more cartoony. So those were interesting to read together. And then definitely by far the darkest one for me was Blood on the Tracks. I can't believe it's taken me so long to read this. I found a receipt when I opened it and I bought it in 2023. And I just can't believe that it took me so long to get to this because it was so fast. I had heard that this was dark, and I can already like, oh, it just has such dark vibes. This very beginning is a kind of fully colored section, and it like almost tells its own story just in the intentional layout of the paneling. Like this one feels like it had so much care put into it. The art style is gorgeous. I feel like every person has such a distinct look and a distinct personality to them. And yeah, this is absolutely a 5-star. I'm kind of really happy it's not a fantasy or sci-fi, or else for Wonderthon, I would probably like go buy it right now. And I just bought too many books for Wonderthon. You don't even want to know the book hauls I have coming. But this one was fantastic. I cannot wait to continue it. So that was a great pairing. I feel like I've been getting really lucky this challenge where like every set has just really gone together very well. With that, we are at 21 hours and I think like 1 minute. Like we are just over 21 hours, which is so exciting. I am so ready to finish this challenge. I started it, I think I said like April 4th or sometime early in the month. And Wonderthon starts Saturday. So that's 2 days from now. And that's June 14th. So this challenge, I thought I was gonna film in a weekend. just didn't happen, and I'm running out of titles to choose from. So I'm really hoping this next set of 3 is our last set of 3. I think I jumped the gun when I said that 3 would be, but I didn't expect them to read as quickly as they did, because some of the manga I've been reading just hasn't been that fast. These ones were. So hopefully we don't have more than at least what's in this bowl. I have other manga I could choose, but I don't have any more things to pull. I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. This one's long. That's good. What else we got? Okay. Perfect World. I think that's a romance. Okay, there's, I think, one more in here. My Hero Academia. Okay, I don't know what volume I'm on of My Hero Academia, and I film on my phone, so I don't really want to check, but I'm gonna read that. You've already heard me discuss it, though. I don't need to describe it again. I'll come back with what volume I read. Then I have Perfect Rule by Ale Aruga. I don't know what this one's about. I'm gonna assume a romance based on the vibes, and it does look like one of our main characters is disabled, so I will check in with this one. And then I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. This is the complete manga collection. I have wanted to read this book for so long. I got this book so long ago, and I genuinely kind of created this challenge with the hopes that I would get to this book. So maybe it'll be the last book I read. Maybe I'll read the other 2 first, and we'll end on the one that I wanted this challenge for. This, I believe, follows a young boy who discovers one of his classmates is dying from pancreatic cancer. I think that it's going to be quite emotional. I love mangas that are short. I think they're just really well done in their simplicity and then the ways they express their complexity. So I'm excited. I will check back in, and I really hope this is the end of the challenge. This was a bad one to end. It's storming out while I cry. It is really the vibe, I guess. It's so sad. I will wrap up my thoughts in a little bit. I did officially hit 24 hours, so that was the last one for this challenge. I gotta take care of myself and I'll come back. Hello friends. It's the me you saw at the beginning of the video, but now at the end of the video. I can't believe I finished 27 mangas. Like, really, it's a little mind-boggling. I will get into my recap of the last 3 mangas in just a moment. Don't worry, I will not forget. I just wanted to just take a minute and just hold them for a second. I also want to just say thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, because it was more of an adventure than I ever could have simply imagined. And at the risk of getting too sentimental about just what I've accomplished, let's wrap up the last 3 books. So the first one that I picked up was My Hero Academia Volume 3. I think I've already discussed this series earlier in this video. I enjoyed it. I think I probably gave it a 4. That's usually what I seem to give most of the books in this series. And all I can really say about it is that I will definitely be continuing with it. And it's definitely, like, if nothing else, it's a fun time. Then I read Perfect World. This is by Ai Aruga. I really, really liked this. This is such a wonderful romance between our main character and her high school. I don't know if they were just crushes or if they were friends, but they're like reconnecting now that they are older and after college, and he is now disabled from an accident that happened. I didn't expect this to go into quite as much depth about the things that he would be dealing with in his day-to-day life. Talks about like bed sores and UTIs and other diseases he can get, and how that impacts his day-to-day life and his overall lifespan. And the conversations between like just the obstacles he faces and what he overcomes and what he has kind of accepted in his life. And then also just like their relationship in general as she grows to realize that she still has feelings for him. But he is quite reluctant because he doesn't really want to tie anyone down to dealing with him for the rest of their lives. And I just thought it was really, really beautiful. I really look forward to continuing this series, and I definitely recommend it if you want something I think a little more unique in the manga medium. And then the piece de la resistance, or however you say it, I loved I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. You saw me sobbing. What you didn't know was that was 13 minutes of me crying that I tried to cut down into just a few clips. This was so unbelievably incredible. It was so good. Solid 5-star. Definitely a favorite that I am going to hold on to forever. I really, really recommend it if you're maybe new to manga and want to read something that's more of a succinct story. It is so beautiful. Of course, it has a sad concept with his classmate dealing and dying from a pancreatic disease, but what it teaches you and him about connection and living your life and the ways it tells its story are still so unique, and it'll leave you just shocked, and things that'll happen are just so unexpected. And it was a bittersweet romance, and it was so incredible. Literally the perfect way I could have finished out this challenge. Because with that does mean this challenge is over. Like, I am kind of free from having to work on this project anymore. It is just taking up so much space on I film on my phone, and this has just been taking up literally so much space that my email is like, we're gonna stop letting you get new emails if you don't deal with this storage issue. So I'm excited. Let me know what you thought about this challenge. Let me know if you think I should do something similar in the future, or if you have an idea for another manga challenge I could do, because don't worry, since filming this, I have a nice big haul of more mangas that we can read and discuss together. Thank you to everyone who in my previous manga videos, which I will link down below, I did like a spinner wheel and a just anticipated for the year video, and you all left some wonderful comments on there that really helped me choose which ones I wanted to put in my little ramen bowl of doom. Again, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Like I said, let me know down below which mangas you've read, that you think I should read, that you loved, that you hated, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!